Well, good afternoon, everybody, all you fourth graders. You're having a great first week of school, and we're on lesson 4 in math, comparing whole numbers. And our objective of this lesson is to be able to compare two whole numbers and also order several whole numbers from least to greatest. And then learn to use digits and symbol to write a comparison given in words. So get out your worksheet and a pencil and let's get started. Okay, our comparison symbols. Okay, and this is what you're going to be writing down under your vocabulary section. Okay, they are an equal sign. So you'll see where it says equal sign is 7 equals 7. Okay, and then the greater than, you will use the symbol going to the right. Okay, like 6 is greater than 4. And then your lesser than goes to your left, which is 6 is lesser than 8. And remember, an equal sign is used to show that two quantities are equal. And that is your vocabulary word for the day. Now, least to greatest. All that really means is from the smallest to the largest. So if we take these three numbers, 64, 46, and 54, and I ask you to write them from smallest to largest, you look for the smallest number and you're going to put them in this order. So which would be 46, 54, and 64. And you'll be doing that later on in your practice. Now, in math language, the comparison symbols of greater and lesser are also called inequality signs. Okay, and they're going to be talking about that later on. Now, here's an example. On the back of your worksheet, I want you to write an example of both least to greatest and greatest to least. Okay, and make sure you use the correct lesser or equal or lesser than symbols. And you can use any numbers you want, but I want you to create a problem that is least to greatest and greatest to least. Okay, now that you have finished this, let's go to our examples. Okay, so the first one is to write the numbers 64, 46, and 54 in the order from least to greatest. So that would, you would look at these numbers and know that 46 is your least number, and then 54, and then 64. So that would be our first example. Okay, so now on example 2, we're going to complete a comparison by replacing the circle with the proper comparison symbol. So remember, they're an equal sign, a greater or lesser sign. So if you look at problem A, we know that 7 would equal 7. So in the circle, you would put an equal sign. Okay, so that is how you would put the equal sign inside the circle. Okay, and the next one would be 6 compared to 4. And if we would know that 6 is a greater number than 4. And okay, so here you go. When two numbers are not equal, we place the greater than, less than symbol so that the smaller n points to the smaller number. Okay, so we see now on number 6, 6 compared to 8. Is 6 greater or lesser than 8? So we will see on C, 6 is less than 8. And that is where your symbol, okay, is pointing to the lesser number. Now, in example 3, we're going to compare 373 to 47. So if we look at that number, we know that 373 is greater than 47. So when we're comparing two whole numbers, we know that the numbers with more digits are greater than number with fewer digits. So if you remember a couple lessons back with Mr. B, he was having you count your digits. So we would know if you have numbers that have ones, tens, and hundreds, it has to be larger. All right, and if we look at B, we see 373, is it greater or lesser than 382? So they all have, both of those numbers have 3 digits. So then you have to start with your ones and your tens to see which one is larger. And so as we can see, the digits in the hundred place are the same, but in the tens place, the 8 is greater than 7. So we have the following. 373 is lesser than 382. Okay, and our last example, using digits and a comparison symbol to write this comparison. 6 is less than 10. So if you see that, you would write the number 6. You would translate as 6 is less than 10, and that is what you're going to be doing for your practice at home tonight. So you need to make sure you understand your symbols. So now what I want you to do is to look at your lesson practice sheet. Okay, and number A, you're going to write the numbers from order from least to greatest. Now sometimes they'll ask you for greatest to least, so you have to make sure you read your problem and know what they're asking you to do. And then in the next part, B through E, you are going to write the comparison symbol. Okay, now, and remember, there's the equal, greater, or lesser to. And then on F and G, you are going to write it out, using the digit form and not written, okay, and explain those two. All right, now don't forget also, I want you to write about 3 takeaways that you had from this lesson. What were the 3 things that you learned? Okay, so have a great evening, and we will see you tomorrow morning. Where? There, right?